There are defeats that hurt. There are refereeing mistakes that spark outrage. And there are stories so strange they seem straight out of a movie script. The FIFA World Cup is the biggest sporting event on the planet. A tournament capable of stopping entire nations and turning players into eternal legends.
Pro mundo inteiro ele pede calma. Eu te amo, diz Cafu.
Brasil!
Aí está, em cima do pódio, para que o mundo inteiro veja. É penta! É penta! É pentacampeão mundial no futebol brasileiro!
Brasil!
Festa dos jogadores, olha o que o Cafu fez! Para sair em todos os jornais do mundo!
But history has not always been written only by goals and titles. Over nearly a century of competition, some World Cups have been marked by episodes that still generate doubts, conspiracy theories, corruption allegations, and endless debates. Players who should have been sidelined ended up playing. Matches that seemed fixed. Referees making inexplicable decisions. Officials accused of selling football to the highest bidder. And even a World Cup final surrounded by a mystery that has never been fully explained. Today you will discover the 10 biggest scandals in World Cup history. And we begin with the episode that still haunts Brazilian football. 10. The Ronaldo Mystery of 1998. July 12, 1998. World Cup Final. France versus Brazil. The stage was the Stade de France in Paris. On one side, the French team led by Zidane. On the other, the Brazilian squad featuring the best player on the planet, Ronaldo Nazario. At just 21 years old, he was football's phenomenon. But a few hours before the final, something happened. Ronaldo suffered a severe seizure at the team hotel. Teammates reported moments of panic. The striker lost consciousness. Doctors rushed to assist him. The situation was so serious that his name was briefly removed from the official lineup. Minutes later, inexplicably, Ronaldo returned to the starting 11. Brazil took the field. And the phenomenon looked unrecognizable. Slow. Lacking explosiveness. Lacking confidence. France won 3-0. 4 years. Theories emerged from every direction. Sponsor pressure. Nike interference. Hidden medical issues. To this day, there is no universally accepted explanation for what truly happened that afternoon in Paris. For many Brazilians, the greatest mystery in World Cup history began just hours before that final. Nine. The Hand of God. Mexico. June 22, 1986. Quarter-finals. Argentina versus England. The context made everything even more explosive. Only 4 years earlier, the two countries had fought the Falklands War. The atmosphere was one of absolute rivalry. In the 51st minute, Diego Maradona ran toward a high ball in the penalty area. England goalkeeper Peter Shilton came out to intercept it. But Maradona did not head the ball. He punched it into the net.
Certainly it's been true of the England team. Haven't seen that much of Hodge or Trevor Steven. Maradona just walked away from Hoddle then. Ronaldo, Hodge and Maradona! They're appealing for offside. The ball came back off the foot of Steve Hodge. And Maradona gives Argentina the lead. The England players protesting to the referee. But the little man who started it by walking past Glenn Hoddle There's where the ball came from Hodge. Maradona had continued the run forward. And the goal is given. At what point was he offside? Or was it a use of the hand that England are complaining about?
The referee did not see it. Neither did the assistant referee. Goal awarded. The English were furious. But the goal stood. After the match, Maradona immortalized the phrase that would enter history. According to him, the goal was scored a little with Maradona's head and a little with the hand of God. 4 minutes later, he would score the so-called goal of the century.
Lo marcan dos, pisa la pelota Maradona, arranca por la derecha el genio del fútbol mundial y deja el tercero a tocar para Borruchaga siempre Maradona, genio, ta, 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 ta.
Yet the image of that illegal hand crossing the line remains one of the most controversial moments in sports history. 8. The corruption that shook FIFA. For decades, FIFA was seen as an untouchable institution. But in 2015, everything changed. American and Swiss authorities launched a massive investigation. The outcome was devastating. Officials were arrested. Executives were accused of receiving millions in bribes. Suspicious contracts came to light. Allegations also emerged regarding the selection processes for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups. The investigation uncovered a corruption scheme that allegedly operated for decades. More than 24 officials were implicated. Then FIFA President Sepp Blatter eventually left office amid the chaos. Although not linked to a specific match, this scandal directly damaged the credibility of the World Cup. For the first time, the world began questioning whether football's inner workings were really as clean as they appeared.
Peru 0-6 Argentina.
1978 World Cup.
Argentina.
Second group stage. The situation was simple. Argentina needed to beat Peru by 4 goals to surpass Brazil and reach the final. It seemed like a difficult mission. But what happened shocked the world. Argentina won 6-0. Exactly the result they needed. Peru's performance raised eyebrows. Unusual mistakes. Little resistance. And a completely unexpected. Over the years, theories involving political agreements, the influence of Argentina's military dictatorship, and diplomatic favors began circulating. No definitive proof has ever emerged. Yet the match is still regarded as one of the greatest mysteries in World Cup history. For many, that victory was simply too convenient to be a coincidence.
E a Argentina comprou os jogadores do Peru e conseguiu os gols. Primeiro mudaram o horário do jogo do Brasil. O Brasil jogar antes, para a Argentina ficar sabendo quantos gols precisava fazer. Então a Argentina precisava, o Brasil ganhou 3-1. A Argentina precisava fazer 4 gols no Peru. E o Peru era um grande time. Não era time de chegar e fazer 4 gols. Pior que ela fez.
6. The Disgrace of Gijón. Spain. West Germany versus Austria. Algeria waited for the result. The Algerians had enjoyed a historic campaign. But they depended on that match. The problem was that there was a perfect result for both West Germany and Austria. A German victory by 1 or 2 goals would send both teams through. Germany scored after just 10 minutes.
Nach Hause fahren muss. Kein Abseits. Litbarski. Und Rubisch. Und Tor! 11. Minute. Deutschland führt 1:0.
Then something surreal happened. The teams virtually stopped playing. Attacks disappeared. Players exchanged passes with no intention of attacking. Fans began booing. Journalists were outraged. The entire world watched a match that seemed to have completely lost its competitive purpose. The score ended exactly as both sides wanted. Algeria was eliminated. The episode became known as the Disgrace of Gijón. The backlash was so severe that FIFA changed the rules and began scheduling the final group stage matches simultaneously.
Ungefähr seit der 20 nicht mehr nennen. Die Partie ist vorbei. Beide Mannschaften sind eine Runde weitergekommen. Mehr braucht man jetzt nicht mehr zu sagen. Zurück nach Deutschland.
5. South Korea in 2002. South Korea and Japan. The 2002 World Cup. The South Korean team was making history. For the first time, they had advanced this far in a World Cup. But the issue was not the qualification itself. It was how it happened. In the round of 16 against Italy, several refereeing decisions sparked outrage. An Italian goal was disallowed. Controversial calls favored the hosts. Italy was eliminated. Then came Spain in the quarterfinals. Once again, goals were ruled out. Once again, highly questionable decisions. Once again, South Korea advanced. The world began talking about favoritism. The team reached the semifinals. To this day, many Italian and Spanish fans consider that run one of the most controversial in World Cup history. Curiously, the referee from the Italy match later became involved in other sporting scandals, further fueling suspicion. Four. Maradona's doping case. United States. Diego Maradona returned for another World Cup. Even at age 33, he remained Argentina's greatest hope. In the group stage, he scored a stunning goal against Greece.
Как в одно касание прекрасно сыграно. Марадона. Удар. Гол! Гол Диего Марадона. Гол! 3-0. Посмотрите, Марадона получил мяч, ищет возможность для удара, делает паузу одну и затем посылает мяч. Ну что, голкипер бессилен в этой ситуации. Один испортит настроение. Еще раз смотрим. Вот эту паузу. Как, кстати говоря, Флориан Радучои тоже сделал паузу.
He ran toward the camera, eyes wide open, intense expression, a scene that became symbolic of that tournament. Days later came the shocking news. Maradona had failed a doping test. The substance found was ephedrine. FIFA immediately expelled him from the tournament. Argentina lost its star player and was eliminated shortly afterward. Maradona claimed innocence. He said he had consumed contaminated supplements. But the punishment remained. The episode marked the end of the World Cup career of one of the greatest players in football history. Three. Suarez's bite. Brazil. Natal. Uruguay versus Italy. A decisive match for a place in the knockout stage. The game was tense, competitive, nervous. Then something unbelievable happened. Luis Suarez approached defender Giorgio Chiellini and simply bit him on the shoulder. The images spread around the world. The referee did not see it. The striker stayed on the field. But the cameras captured everything. FIFA immediately opened an investigation. Days later came the punishment. Suarez received a historic suspension. He was banned from football-related activities for several months. The incident became a meme, a joke, and a global headline. But it also entered history as one of the strangest behaviours ever seen at a World Cup.
It can't be proved, but Chiellini's trying to make it obvious to everybody.
Well, if that was a bite, and we've yet to see conclusive proof, then that's the third time that Luis Suarez has committed that particular crime. Once in Holland, where he became known quickly as the cannibal, and then, more famously, against Branislav Ivanovic of Chelsea in an EPL game.
He sticks his head into Chiellini, so that's wrong in the first place, but if he does take a bite...
2. Zidane's headbutt. Berlin. The 2006 World Cup final. France versus Italy. It was the final match of Zinedine Zidane's career. One of the greatest players in history. The Frenchman had already scored a goal.
Audacious fashion.
It's Zinedine Zidane here. Oh, how casual, how cheeky.
1-0 to France, and Zidane on course for signing off his career in style.
The match remained tied. Everything pointed toward a penalty shootout. Then the unthinkable happened. During an argument with Marco Materazzi, Zidane completely lost control. He turned around, took a few steps, and delivered a violent headbutt to the Italian's chest. The entire stadium was stunned. Commentators were in shock. Millions watching on television were shocked as well.
It happens.
He's just headed Materazzi in the middle of the chest. What was Zidane thinking of? Zinedine Zidane's career ends with being sent off in the World Cup final.
After consulting his assistants, the referee sent Zidane off. France lost its leader and eventually lost on penalties. The image of the superstar walking alone toward the tunnel became one of the most iconic scenes in World Cup history. One. The Battle of Santiago. Chile. Chile versus Italy. A match many consider the most violent in World Cup history. Days earlier, Italian journalists had harshly criticized the host nation. When the match began, tensions exploded. Punches, kicks, elbows, constant aggression, players exchanging blows on the field. The police had to enter the pitch. Not once, but several times. 2 Italian players were sent off. Others should have been. The referee completely lost control of the situation. The match became known as the Battle of Santiago. More than a football match, it looked like a mass brawl broadcast to the entire world. To this day, the game is cited as one of the greatest disciplinary failures in FIFA history. Mysteries. Corruption. Violence. Doping. Refereeing mistakes. Manipulation. The history of the World Cup is filled with glorious moments. But it is also marked by episodes that still leave unanswered questions. What really happened to Ronaldo in 1998? Did Peru throw the match against Argentina in 1978? Was South Korea favoured in 2002? And how many scandals remain hidden behind football's closed doors? We may never know. But one thing is certain. As long as the World Cup exists, these stories will continue to be remembered. Because sometimes the biggest events in football do not happen when the ball crosses the line, but when something seems far too wrong to be just a coincidence.